Creating a UX research plan isn't easy, and sometimes the amount of research tools and methods available can be overwhelming. What tool to choose at what stage of the development? I'm here today to show you when to use which of UXtweak's tools to conduct thorough UX research. Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm here to show you when to use which tool from UXtweak's repertoire. For simplicity, the process for designing and developing a product can be split into 5 stages. Each company has its own approach to UX research and testing. However, I will try to offer you some tips on which tools will help you the most in each stage. The 5 stages I will discuss are Ideation, Initial Wireframes, Mockups, Prototypes, and implemented websites or apps. UXtweak covers all your needs throughout the whole of this process. Some of our tools, such as the survey or first click test, can be used in multiple stages. However, tools like website testing or session recording are more case specific and therefore better used in one stage only. If your project was a story, then the ideation stage is its prologue. At this point, your main focus is getting to know your future users, the main characters of your story. You are learning about their biases, opinions, pains, and preferences. A key player at this point is the survey. Remember, you want to get to know your users. There is no easier way than just asking. Ask about the crucial selling points of your product. Make sure that it hits all the right spots. Surveys as a tool can be used at any stage of the design process. A standalone survey, however, is most valuable at this stage, since you can use it to gather general information and opinions from your users without the need to have any part of your product ready. Another tool that can be a big help at this stage is the preference test. Show your participants some initial ideas such as the logo or the name of your product and let them decide which is the best fit. Before you start creating your first wireframes, you should know what you want to communicate on each page or view. All this information needs structure, and you have to have the navigation through all this data figured out. You need to have your main information architecture set. End this stage with a round of card sorting and tree tests to make sure that the navigation you plan on implementing is one that comes directly from users. First, use the open card sorting. Allow your users to sort through the cards into categories created by them to get the first idea of how they would organize your navigation. Take the most frequently created categories and use them to create a hybrid card sorting. This way, you can validate the created categories and you leave an option for your users to complete the structure if they feel something is missing. The card sorting cycle ends with the closed card sorting variant, where you use the most popular categories from the hybrid phase. In this final card sorting step, you will provide your users with a navigation scheme defined by the categories you chose. It is important not to skip this step because the users might sort the cards differently once the context changes to a specified list of categories. To validate your navigation scheme based on the results of the card sorting cycle, simply conduct tree testing. With this test, you are asking the users to find information in your created navigation scheme instead of creating this scheme itself. You are validating the results of your card sorts by placing the created navigation into use. Based on the results, you will see if the structure is easy to navigate or not. Don't be afraid to make changes based on the results from this final step. After the initial ideation, it's finally time to start drawing your screens. Of course, starting with some simple paper sketches and wireframes so you can toss and replace any designs that don't work quickly. The goal is just to define the initial scope of your app or web. What are the key elements and where you should place them? What pages you are going to need to design, etc. You don't have to care about the graphical details of the design now. All you want to do is create a simple grayscale design with the right structure. Remember to use all the data that you gathered in the ideation phase. Design your product to be used. A great way to start with designing your own screens is to find out what works and what doesn't for your competitors. This can be done with our website testing tool and UXtweak's Chrome extension. Test the user flows, which will be key for your product. uncover where the competition is struggling, and use this to your advantage. After learning as much as you can about your competition, you need to come up with your own designs and test them. First the individual wireframes, and then even whole flows. It is a good idea to run a simple first click test at least with your landing page or main menu, just to make sure that the very first interactions your future users will do in your product do make sense. When you are not sure about the layout of a page, simply let your future users tell you which option they prefer with a preference test. A method that is also helpful at the simple wireframe stage is prototype testing. If your budget allows for it and you have enough time, go for it. Gather a few responses just to see if the page structure is easy to use and that the pages fit together well in your flows. If you skipped a step, nothing terrible happens. The flaws you would uncover will be caught by the tests in upcoming steps. In addition, you can also run smaller tests to analyze specific sections of your designs. This phase is the one when you are discovering your own views on your future product. Make sure they are still in tune with the needs of your users. If you are unsure, run another survey or two. Answers from these surveys will help you to focus on which features are a must, which are nice to haves, and which are not important at all. The next stage in product development is the mock-up stage. This is the moment to focus on the design of your future website or application. After this stage, you should have the visual side of your product ready. All color palettes, element shapes, copy, and labels should be decided. Basically, what you are looking for is a non-interactive copy of your product with established elements and page structure. Run a first click test on your main pages and the main steps of your key flows. Make sure that the design decisions, such as the color palette or the shape of the elements, didn't negatively influence the intuitiveness of your layouts tested in the previous stage. Discover the first impressions of your users to the design you present to them. Conducting a 5-second test will allow you to test whether the designs are memorable and easy to understand. Creating the final look of your product comes with many questions and design decisions. Should we use this banner or that one? Which image should we use to illustrate this use case, etc. You can ease this process by, again, delegating the decision to your users in a preference test. In the previous stage, you made sure that your designs look like the real product. Now it's time to check whether the flows you have premeditated will work as expected. It is a no-brainer that prototype testing is the best fit to test the overall performance of your design. You could use prototype testing in the previous stages as well, but this is when it shines. Use prototype testing to test your main user flows, and this time, make sure that you have more than just a few responses. This is one of the last tests before the costly implementation process begins. Best to make sure that you can catch as many flaws as you can. If you are implementing an app instead of a web, you can use mobile testing to test the prototype as well. The final stage, your product, or at least a part of it, is being implemented and becoming ready to be released. The tests in this stage are designed to either validate that your designs transferred well from the prototypes or to uncover any issues or bugs that might come from this transition. If you are reworking an existing product, you may start here to get feedback and inspiration for your rework. Website testing and session recording are the two heavy lifters of this phase. Website testing allows you to test specified user flows and define tasks. Use it to validate the most important parts of your web or to test the sections you would like to improve. Session recording is your insight into the natural behavior of your web visitors. Use it to uncover any confusion and to learn which elements are interacted with the most on your web. Mobile testing can be used to test your native apps, or it can also provide the mobile perspective for testing your web. So just to reiterate, here are the main tools for each stage. For the ideation, use surveys, preference tests, and create an information architecture using card sorting and tree tests. When you move to the initial wireframes, use website testing on competition. First click test, preference test, prototype testing, and surveys. In the mock-up stage, use first click test, 5-second test, and preference test. When it comes to prototypes, use prototype testing and mobile testing. Finally, to test an implemented website or app, conduct website and mobile testing, as well as session recording. And there you have it. Now that we laid the path before you, all you need to do is walk it with us. With UXtweak, you have all these tools at your disposal. You can sign up for the free plan and try them out today. The link is in the description. Good luck with your research and testing. See you next time.